Hey, hi, hello, how are you? I'm Pia and today we're going to be doing my June wrap-up. In the month of June, I read a total of 10 books. This included 2 DNFs. But other than that, yeah, I read a lot of books I don't own. The first book that I read in the month of June, believe it or not, which feels like literally forever ago, was Lovely War. This is by Julie Berry. I quite like this story. It's a historical fiction told centering around the First World War, and it's a really interesting perspective because it's actually being told by goddess of love. What's her name right now? Aphrodite. And she is basically arguing to the court of the god of why love loves war and showing that through to love stories at that time. Love stories are really cute and I really liked them, but I just didn't find anything incredibly special about this. I did really like that it was set during World War I. I haven't really read a lot of historical fiction set then, but other than that, it kind of fell flat for me and I was expecting a lot of it, so I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. Today's emoji book rating is going to be the graduation cap because this was also the month that I graduated from high school, which is scary. And I read Let's Call It a Doomsday by Katie Henry. This is the second Katie Henry book that I've read. It's actually her sophomore novel, and I really like this book. This centers around a character with anxiety and someone who is prepping for the end of the world constantly, and she meets this girl who basically tells her when the world's gonna end and that she's seen the end of the world, and so they kind of form this unlikely friendship manifesting in this anxious state, and it has a lot to do with mental health and anxiety and how that is viewed in someone's family and in their life and how they have to deal with that and how the people around a mentally ill person are affected by that one person. It deals a lot with family relationships. It also has a huge focus on religion and how religion views sexuality, which I also found really interesting. There are 2 bi characters, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, but there is a hetero romance at the center of the story, which is so cute. I really liked their discussions on mental health. I felt like it was very accurate to how I felt with anxiety and how people sometimes talk about mental illness. It made me angry at times with some of the characters, how they were talking about our main character's mental illness. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's a definite must read. I like this more than Heretics Anonymous and I really liked it. Next up, I read a graphic novel called Check Please. This is volume 1 or book 1. This is about a gay hockey player who bakes pies and he is going to college. He's also like a vlogger, which I think is really cute. I really like the art style of this one. I thought that it was really cute. I give this 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't anything really special. I think I would continue with the series and I liked the kind of slow burn romance that was happening. Next up, I read Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Finally! Wow, it only took me forever. I did a try chapter tag and this was the last book of that I didn't read, and you can find that video on my channel, and it's from when I had purple hair. I have like my bluish purple hair, and I finally read this book and I absolutely loved it. I loved the magic system in this and the characters as much as I loved it. I cannot remember anything about it right now. This is about a town or a world, I guess, where magic has been completely outlawed, completely forbidden, and everyone who had magic was basically killed or their magic was somehow taken away from them. I forget how it's like subdued or something like that. But the people with magic, the magi, have this white hair, and so this creates a sort of discrimination amongst the people that are the kids that are the children of these witches, or they took the magic out of this place, and it's about trying to bring that magic back and trying to revolt against the government that took it away. And it has some really great like friendship dynamics and it focuses a lot around family. I really loved this book. It kept me on the edge of my seat and I was super engaged. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars and I'm really excited to read the second book, even though I've heard mixed things about it. Next up, I listened to another audiobook. I think this was like basically the month of audiobooks, but when is that not the case? I read Tyler Johnson Was Here by J. Cole. This is a book about a teenager whose name is nope, it's not Marvin. It is Marvin! He has a twin brother. He's kind of a troublemaker on the wrong side of the path. Is that what you would call it? I just made up that saying, I don't know. They go to this party and it gets shut down by the police, and there's all these police and there's gunshots fired, and after that day his brother, Tyler Johnson, goes missing. So this obviously deals with really heavy topics of police brutality and gun violence and discrimination and racism and all of that is ever so present in our society. I felt like it dealt with that in a really interesting way, especially having this unique perspective of a brother of that happening, you know, having that really close relationship and kind of having that torn, especially being a twin, and seeing, you know, that so easily could have been him. And you know, it's crazy to see like how they were dealing with the missing person being a person of color and all of these things that are so present in our society, these little acts of discrimination that we don't really think about, and how justice is not nearly served enough. And I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was pretty short, so I don't feel like I got to know the characters or like had a lot of time with them. Next up, I read With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, which is the second book that I read by Elizabeth Acevedo. This really solidified how great of an author she is in my mind. I loved this book, obviously. Can you tell? This is about a teen mom who, I think she got pregnant her freshman year, now she's in her senior year, and it follows an Afro-Latinx character, which we love representation here, and she loves cooking. She starts taking this cooking class. She wants to be a chef. They end up being able to go on a trip to Spain. So it really is like all the trials and tribulations of high school while dealing with the fact that she does have this daughter at home, and so we get to see that relationship, the relationship between her and the father of her child, which is interesting as well, and then while she's trying to, you know, have a new relationship with a guy and have some sort of romance going on, while also thinking about her future and her daughter's future and how all of those things are playing into what's weighing on her and her decision making and everything like that. I really liked the main character, Imani. I felt like she was so strong and strong-willed, and I really, really liked her. She was a little bit sassy, and I loved her. I loved our love interest. I just really, really loved this book. It has so many different intricacies, and I really, really enjoyed it. Next up, I read The Mall by Megan McCafferty. This is an arc I got off NetGalley, so thank you, NetGalley. This comes out later in the month of July. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. It was extremely disappointing. I was very disappointed. It's set in the 90s at a mall, and it follows a girl right after she's broken up, gotten dumped. She has to get another job at the mall. She's having trouble at home, and obviously since this new breakup is like kind of, you know, doing things, and then it was just so bleh to me. You know, I was super intrigued because I love stories centered around the summer. I loved the mall setting in the 90s. I felt like that was super interesting. And it was just really cliche and like overdone. And then like the author kind of tried to tackle some bigger issues, but I just felt like the tone was off, you know, is like trying to emerge on these topics that are darker and that are way more important than just the fun, fluffy stuff of high school, but it just didn't really work well with the story. So unfortunately I give that 2 out of 5 stars, and I didn't really like it. Next up, I read a book I actually loved, and this is called How I Resist Activism and Hope for a New Generation, and this is edited by Maureen Johnson. There are a ton of people in this, so I don't even think I could say everyone's name. This is, I guess, like you could call it kind of a collection of essays or interviews and things like that with a ton of different people, authors, activists, actors, artists, and everything in between. And it's just how, it's just, you know, they're asking the question, how I resist. How are you an activist? How are you contributing to society? How are you trying to make it better? I loved this book. I absolutely love this book, and it's made for teens, and it's made for us to understand the little things that we can do in our life to help the world around us. And it's a short book, and I think it's just so insightful with all these interviews, and I loved getting all these different perspectives and learning about all these cool people that are doing such amazing things for our world. I just loved it. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I highly, highly recommend picking it up. It's a short read, like I said, but it definitely packs a punch. Next up is my DNF. I DNF'd The Air Affair by Heather Cox and Jessica Morgan. This is the sequel to The Royal We. I actually pulled this out of my TBR jar last month, June. I read The Royal We last year, and I really liked it, except it involved cheating, which made me not like it so much. So I requested this arc off of NetGalley. Do I know when it comes out? It's already out by the time you're watching this. This basically is, you know, it's a sequel, and it just has so much coming back from that cheating plotline, and I was like literally like wanting to throw up. And the funny thing about this book, it's like a really long book for a contemporary. 464 pages. I got through like 350 of those pages, and I was like, I can't stand this. I gave this 1 out of 5 stars. I don't typically rate DNFs, but because I was doing it for NetGalley, I rated it 1 star. I'm so mad I didn't enjoy this, but the plot lines and like, no. And the next up is another DNF. I DNF'd the other pick from my TBR jar. I DNF'd Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. This is a book that's basically like Twilight, but with werewolves, and I was down for it. I was down for the trashy time. But I listened to this on audio, or I was listening to this on audio, and the narrator is like, sounds so young. And I was like, is she like 12? And just the general like writing and everything, I was just like, it rubbed me the wrong way. They're really young. You know, I was looking for a trashy time. I wasn't like looking for perfection or like amazing literature. It was really boring. So those are all the books that I read in June. Let me know if you've read any of these books or what you guys read in June. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and do all of the things, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!